That is the door that leads to the Peppermill poker room. I'm gonna walk through it and ask to be dealt in. Vlog 312 would come your way from Reno, Nevada. A place known for different iterations of an arch for over a century. And for the first time, Anna and I would take a picture by this one for no particular reason. I'd walk into the casino for the 312th vlog on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. to find a pretty good 5-10 game. I'd start out losing about $160 in a hand where I'd raise king-9 of diamonds and flop top pair. My value bet got called by pocket eights, and the turn was an 8. Wasn't a bad call, I didn't think, by my opponent, just a bad result for me. Then a hand that I would get video of, just a late start on it, when we'd get a limp, middle position. I have Queen Jack in the cutoff and decide to play it, making it 4x. Folds back around to the limper, and he's my only caller. So with 95 in, the flop is 9 deuce 5 with 2 hearts, and he checks. Knowing that any 10, Jack, Queen, or King will give me equity in this spot, I figure it's worth a bluff. I make it 60. And he surprises me by making the call. So with 215 in, the turn is an offsuit 10. So I do pick up that equity, now with an open-ender. And now he surprises me again by betting. But he only makes it $60. So he's obviously giving me a great price to try to draw to this year. But I still think I made a mistake. I think against this particular opponent, the play is a semi-bluff raise. But I opted against it and would just go ahead and see the river. So with 335 in, that comes an offsuit Jack, giving me top pair. Now he checks. Based on what I was just talking about, on how this should have been a turn bluff raise, this river bet has to be very small to get paid off, because it's pretty clear he can't really beat a 9 here too often. And I don't think he's going to pay off very wide if he does have that kind of a hand. So, we just bet 60. He gives this a lot of thought for such a small bet, but finally opts to make the call, creating a $455 pot. I show my hand, and he mucks. We then get a double board hold'em bomb pot. My theory is 9 out of 10 times in these double board bomb pots, you will know if you have a chance to win before you look at the flops. And this was yet another example of that. Fast forward to the next bomb pot, and James, the actual professor, would claim he was on tilt after a hand he played against Mr. W. He then said he was not going to play the next bomb pot. 30 minutes later, this was him. But, as it would turn out, he had sets on both boards in this bomb pot, and he would win a big one. I dust off a little under 200 trying to squeeze Queen 10 offsuit, but it got interesting the next hand, because everyone knew that I'd been bluffing, and then I picked up a real hand. We'd get a $30 raise from Mr. W under the gun and a call from the button. I am in the big blind tier and raised to 125. And as we often see, both of these guys make the call. So with 380 in, the board comes out 10-5 deuce rainbow, and I'm first to act, making it 150. Mr. W gives this a lot of thought before folding, and he later admitted that he was giving this a lot of thought without even having a pair or a draw. He just had ace-king and gave strong consideration to shipping all in. I need more than just consideration here. I need you to do it. Anyway, the button would fold as well, and we would stack the chips. After that, though, I would lose like the next 5 hands I played, including one where Mr. W slow played a full house on me, and I paid it off with ace high on the river. Terrible decision on my part. I often find myself getting in situations where it's so easy to say, well, I know he has top full house or nothing, and it's hard to have top full house, and then I pay off. Anyway, at that point, I'd gone from being up more than 500 to only being up about 100. I then played this next hand against Mr. W. I have Jack 9 suited, middle position, and raised to 35. He calls in the hijack, so with 85 in, the flop is 9-7-4-2 diamonds. Easy value bet spot, and I bet 50. He doesn't give this much thought at all before making the call. The turn is the 10 of diamonds. It might seem like the worst card in the deck for me, but I can assure you, this is still a value bet for me, considering how wide I'm going to be getting called by this particular opponent. I bet 80, and he starts thinking about it, and thinks about it a little more, before finally making the call. So the river is the king of clubs, and now I check. He ponders this, and ponders a little more, before opting to check back, turning over ace of diamonds, 3 of spades, for just the backdoor nut flush draw on the flop, and my thin value bet would pay off, and we would stack those chips. This is a mid-session update. My San Francisco Giants have signed Rafael Devers. And while there are concerns with that trade, I do love the fact that there have been multiple Yankee fans that have reached out saying, "Thank God you took him away from the Red Sox." So that's at least good news. And that's the end of this update. By the way, the Giants have not had a 30 home run hitter since Barry Bonds in 2004. I want to say when Brandon Belt had his career year in 2021 when the Giants won 107 games, he had 29 before he took a fastball to the hand and was out for the playoffs, which is one of the worst bad beats in Giants history. Obviously, it'll take years to know if the Giants won this trade or if their prospects are going to be way better than Devers ends up being that they gave up to get him. But it could be like the time the Bay Area fleeced Boston back in 2005 when the Sharks traded for Joe Thornton. And that's what I'm hoping this is. We would then get John, the concert merch king, sitting down and doubling up on the first hand he'd play, which is highly recommended. Anyway, I look down at Ace King for the first time all day as I'm approaching the end of the available time I have to play, and I raised 35 from the +1 position. Mr. W gives action from the low jack, as you would expect, and the small blind comes in as well. So with 115 in, the flop is Ace Queen 10 Rainbow, giving me top pair, top kicker. Obvious value bet spot, I make it 75. And, as I kind of expected, both of these guys call. So with 340 in, the turn is a beautiful deuce of clubs. I bet 150 here. Low jack calls, and this time the small blind folds. So with 640 in, the river is a 7. Still a very good spot to value bet, though I wasn't exactly sure the optimal sizing. I reach for $200 and slide it into the pot, and Mr. W, uncharacteristically, doesn't even think about this for a second and folds his cards with an obvious misdraw in that spot. So, able to extract some value out of Ace King. It was a session that wasn't as good as it probably should have been, considering I certainly did not run bad. I don't think I won as much as I should have had I not made a few stupid mistakes, but I was still able to rack up and book a win. Alright, it is just about 5 o'clock. I gotta go pick up my son as I book a win of $640. Have not booked the win of over $1,000 in seemingly quite some time, and this really should have been the day that happened. I ran good, made some big hands, and didn't get coolered at all. Made a couple stupid mistakes in the middle there in kind of smaller pots that didn't make the vlog, but sometimes it's those small pots you got to watch out for. You mix in like 4 or 5 of those, and it can really alter your win rates for a given time. And obviously, this is a time where I really need to maximize it. And I failed to do that today, on a day I should have. But we are still on the comeback trail for 2025. All right, I am recording this section of the vlog on June 19th, and that reminds me to remind you, if you're new to this channel, that that was the day 2 years ago that I left on an epic cross-country trip. Now, if you're new to this vlog, you certainly do not need to go back to the first vlogs and watch those. In fact, I would encourage you not to. But the vlogs that you need to go back and watch, if you're just tuning into this channel for the first time, are the vlogs from 2 years ago today that I started shooting a 6-part series that I made then when I made the most epic trip, driving my car all the way from Reno to Atlantic City and back across the South. It was one of those things that I had spent my entire life wanting to do. And this vlog just basically gave me the reason and the motivation to actually go do it. Though I will admit, I wanted to do it a little bit less when I actually walked out the door that Monday, because of the fact that Anna had not been my girlfriend for very long at that point. And, I just had to hope she'd still be here when I got back. Fortunately for me, she was. But 6 videos, NV to AC is what I call the series. And I'd highly recommend checking them out if you haven't already. Speaking of series, there's one that I just have to talk about. Every once in a while on this vlog, I just have to talk about something that I'm passionate about. You've already heard me mention on previous vlogs that I think the show Andor is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's definitely my favorite show since Better Call Saul. And definitely in my top, probably my top 4 or 5 all time. Not exactly sure where I'd slot it, but it's in there. No doubt about it. As I mentioned recently, I was in Valencia the very week that one of the first episodes featuring that location that they shot there aired. And I didn't realize it until I came back, but it was still cool to have been there. I just wish I'd known and got to explore that area a little bit more, particularly the bench where Luthen confronts Lonnie. I just want to ask you guys, just in case any of you guys are Andor fans too, what's your favorite moment / line of the show? My favorite moment, I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say Mon Mothma kind of has her big moment towards the end. What actually was going on there? I think that was probably my favorite moment. And my favorite line, not a spoiler either, but you have kind of the moment in the first season. And yes, I had to go back and rewatch all of seasons 1 and 2 in the last couple of weeks. There's that line in season 1 during the Aldhani heist where the colonel realizes that one of his guys has defected over to the rebels. And he goes, "You'll hang for this." And he just looks back at him and says, "I served you for 7 years. I deserve much worse." Anyway, let me know in the comments for those of you who have watched what your favorite things about it are, because I'll probably go back and watch that show like every couple of years. It's just that good. That'll wrap it up for this edition of the vlog. Hit those like and subscribe buttons, and you can follow along on Instagram @bendeach. And we'll see you back here next time.